Welcome back. Today is one of my favorite days of the year. It's opening day. And let me just be honest. It came a week earlier than I expected, or I might not have been here today. It's really opening day for everyone. All 30 major league teams are scheduled to play today, weather permitting. But today's games already look a little different than they did last season. Major League Baseball is implementing some of the most sweeping rules changes to America's pastime in recent history. Most notably, we now have a pitch clock designed to speed up the game. The clock was used in the minor leagues last season and shaved about 25 minutes off the average length of a game. The pitch clock received almost universal praise during spring training, even from some of the baseball purists. And widespread support for any major rule change in sports, especially baseball, is about as rare as bipartisanship in Washington these days. But baseball fans want to save baseball. And I think that's what's happened here. We hit a crisis point, and everybody's like, yeah, whatever it takes. Evan Drellich is a senior writer for The Athletic who covers baseball. And Evan, I appreciate you joining me and taking a minute from watching games, as I had to do for the hour here, and miss the Nats blow what will be a regular occurrence here these years, blow another game against the Braves. But I had that interview with Rob Manfred 8 years ago. The issue of baseball's problem on TV was notable 20 years ago. I'm glad they did it, but what took them so long?
Yeah, look, there was player resistance for a long time. Baseball spiritually has always been the sport that doesn't have the clock. You know, you heard Rob referring to it there. It's interesting if you pay attention. All the language that the league is using around it, they're calling it the pitch timer because I think they don't want to alarm people. But it hit a breaking point where the games were too slow, and not only were they too slow, there wasn't enough action. And so they had to make really a flurry of changes here to try to, A, get games quicker, and B, create more action on the field.
The other notable thing, look, the pitch clock seems to be the one, and it may solve every other problem, right? We were a ball in play. You know, if you don't have as much time to think about where you're going to put a ball into play, that maybe everything is a little more reactionary and everything. So it may solve everything. But they also got rid of the shift. Yeah. And practically, why was that important, do you think?
Well, you had fielders stacked on typically the right side of the field for left-handed pull hitters, and they were taking away hits that for decades, traditionally in baseball, had been hits. You know, after Moneyball, all the teams start pursuing analytics. They get all this great data. They know exactly where to put a fielder. And so, you know, a hitter can really hit a strong line drive, and there's somebody standing there. So it was contributing to that reduction in action. The game was really gearing toward strikeouts, walks, and home runs. And it's going to be interesting to see if indeed we do see more action. So the Yankees today, they won 5-0 in a 2-hour, 33-minute game. That's basically a half an hour, more than a half an hour off of the average game time of last year. But this could be a function of April, and it's cold and everybody's getting warmed up. There were 32 strikeouts in that game. So, you know, we're seeing progress, and I think this clock is going to be great for the sport overall, but there's going to be some hiccups.
Is there an advantage, you think, for hitters or pitchers with the clock?
My instinct is that it's for pitchers because I think the time to get set, you can catch a hitter, I think, more likely out of rhythm, but it probably would depend on who you talk to. But I think when things are snappy, you know, when you had pitchers in recent years, Mark Burley, formerly of the White Sox, guys who kept fielders in rhythm, pitching quickly traditionally has been viewed as helping the defense and the pitcher.
All right. So over the last couple of years, we've changed how many batters a relief pitcher has to face. We've done the pitch clock. We've got getting rid of the shift, bigger bases. What's left? Is there anything on the table there for our friend Theo that he wants to put in here to try to improve the game, or are we done tinkering for a while?
Now, there's one more big one that's looming, and that is the automated strike zone, that's sometimes referred to as the robo-ump. Rob Manfred yesterday spoke for a while at an event in Manhattan and does not like the term robo-ump because he says there isn't actually a robot involved. But you know, they have a way now of measuring or evaluating a pitch automatically, and they can tell the umpire, hey, this is a ball or a strike. And so they're experimenting with two different forms of this. One is that calls pitches every pitch, the ball, strike, every time. The other one's a challenge system. Manfred yesterday seemed to like the challenge system idea more. It's less invasive. And so I think if it's not next year, at some point, yeah, we're going to see the automated strike zone.
The most compelling idea I had for the challenge was the idea that human umpires know that there are some strikes that are unhittable pitches, and they didn't like to call them strikes. I mean, is there a way to program the robot that, we'll have an oval strike zone and not a full rectangle?
This is exactly what the commissioner was talking about yesterday, is that the way human umpires call strike zone isn't an oval. They don't call the very, very edge of the corners. I would think technologically there would be a way to do this. The way it sounds now, they're not there. And so that's really the main concern with going to the every pitch system is you're going to get pitches called strikes that are not strikes.
Well, I would have loved to have seen Tommy Lasorda fight with a robot, or Earl Weaver fight with a robot over balls and strikes. But that we will never see. Robots versus Lasorda. Maybe it would have been a fun reality show. Evan Drellich of the Athletic, appreciate you coming on, sharing a few minutes with me.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.